tonight. He turned himself in to police. Now his family wants to know why he died in a holding cell. The family of a Prince Albert man rallies around him as he recovers after being shot. And a new initiative gives low-income families access to fresh food.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It is Thursday, July 10th, and the CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. I'm Ethan Williams. Thank you for joining us. A lack of trust and answers has a family in Kamsack calling for answers. They want to know why their loved one died while in the custody of police earlier this year. Alexander Kwan has our top story.
When something like this happens, you expect answers.
Those who loved Gerald Straightnose want an answer to a simple question. What happened inside this RCMP detachment in Kamsack? According to his family, Straightnose was well known and liked in the community, but he struggled with addiction. He planned to deal with his outstanding warrants.
When I convinced my brother to go to court, it wasn't to meet his death.
2 days after Straightnose turned himself in, he was dead. His family says a woman in a nearby holding cell heard him yelling before his death, reportedly calling for food and medication to treat drug withdrawal. It's being investigated by Saskatchewan's police watchdog, but that has left his family with no answers. Now they're calling for justice and change.
We want a liaison person in that cell when our people are in that cell. We want somebody to watch our people, to make sure they're getting the medical help, to make sure they're being fed, to make sure they're getting a blanket. These are all the things that my nephew cried out for before he died.
Leaders with the Federation of Sovereign Indigenous Nations say they support the idea. Many at the rally shared how they feel investigations into the deaths of Indigenous people are often swept under the rug.
You know, the police were put here to protect and serve us, to bring peace amongst the nations, bring peace amongst the people. But when you have unexpected deaths from incarceration, then there's simply something wrong.
FSIN Chief Bobby Cameron used the opportunity to highlight his call for an Indigenous police force. The RCMP say it's aware of Thursday's rally and offered its condolences to Straightnose's family, saying, quote, "We acknowledge their grief." Alexander Kwan, CBC News, Regina.
A Saskatoon man is now facing more than 20 charges after a stolen truck chase Wednesday. The 32-year-old led police across the city before the pursuit ended near the landfill. People across the city took to social media with live updates as the chase unfolded. Dan Zakreski has that story.
Jordan Dustyhorn started recording on his phone when the police cruisers came flying into the drugstore parking lot on Broadway. Officers tried to put down spike belts. It didn't take long to see why. The white truck had been stolen minutes earlier from a job site a few blocks away. Police were in hot pursuit. And then, minutes later, across the river, Lindsay Daniels was in a 22nd Street parking lot. The chase lasted 39 minutes, long enough to generate its own live Reddit thread. People across the city posted sightings of the stolen 4-ton truck, careening through neighborhoods, across bridges, through the downtown, plowing into anything that got in its path. We don't know how many cars and trucks were hit in the chase. Police are still tallying up damages to their own fleet. Police say officers fired their guns in the process. The chase ended when police rammed the stolen truck. In the end, the only person injured was the suspect. He resisted arrest after officers got him out of the truck. He was taken to hospital with a dog bite. Police say before the chase, the suspect had also stolen a taxi and drove into the front of this store. Staff we spoke to say he pepper sprayed 2 workers and robbed the store. The suspect, Kaz Daniel, is now facing more than 20 charges. They include robbery, assaulting police, hit and run, and dangerous driving. Dan Zakreski, CBC News, Saskatoon.
A Prince Albert landlord is recovering in hospital after a shooting his family believes stemmed from a contentious eviction. And as Jeffrey Tram reports, the attack has changed the man's life forever.
Thank goodness he's got 4 sisters. We love him so much.
Peggy Epp is seeking justice for her brother. 57-year-old Jim Primo was shot last month and remains in hospital with life-altering injuries. Primo is a landlord in Prince Albert, and his family believes he was attacked after an eviction turned ugly.
And so he followed the law, and we did what we were told, and it took a long time. And the end result is he's shot in the throat.
Primo rented out a suite in this rental home in March to a woman who couldn't pay full rent. Epp says Primo tried to help the woman by accepting half. The woman did not pay her rent for the next 3 months, so Primo served her a notice of eviction. She was allowed to come back in early June to get her belongings, but refused to leave. After police were called, Epp says the woman threatened Primo's life. And later that day, a man entered the property and confronted Primo with a gun.
Jim said I didn't get to say a thing. He pointed that gun at me and shot me.
Prince Albert police say the suspect fled the scene on a bike. They haven't released a description of the man or said if any arrests were made. Primo suffered a spinal cord injury and was in a medically induced coma for 4 days. Epp says his lower body is paralyzed.
So it has changed all of our lives. You know, Jimmy's drastically, but us 4 sisters will forever be his caregivers.
I think it's very frustrating to read a story like this because they did follow the legal process and it still resulted in tragedy.
This housing advocate says violence against landlords is a growing concern and the system needs change.
We are currently reviewing the Residential Tenancies Act and we'll be putting forward a couple of proposed amendments in the next couple of weeks.
Epp says she's organizing local landlords to push for reform, but she's not letting the shooting define her family.
You know, we're compassionate people.
The family has launched a GoFundMe to support Primo's long road to recovery. Jeffrey Tram, CBC News, Regina.
The northern hamlet of Pachinak has now declared a state of emergency. It comes as a wildfire continues to threaten a nearby highway and power lines. 3 other communities continue to be under an evacuation order due to the nearby Muskeg fire. Those communities are the resort subdivision of Lac La Plonge, the northern village of Beauval, and the Lac La Plonge Reserve. The Saskatchewan Public Safety Agency says communities and tribal bands make the decisions on when and how to evacuate residents, but the agency did advise English River First Nation on the best evacuation options.
The community chose to fly them to Buffalo Narrows. At Buffalo Narrows, they were transferred to buses and moved to Lloydminster, where there's adequate housing and services. And those are only the high risk, the P1s and P2s. So there's still a number of individuals still in the community. It's not a full evacuation. The community will continue to work with us to evaluate the risk and make a decision at a later time.
Those high-risk people evacuated include elders, children, and those with medical conditions. The Muskeg fire has grown to nearly 34,000 hectares and is about 40 kilometers away from Pachinak. The SPSA says there are just shy of 1,000 people evacuated in the province as of Thursday. There are also 56 active wildfires in Saskatchewan, only 6 of which are contained. Alberta is now North America's hotspot for measles. Health officials say there are more cases of the disease in the province than anywhere else on the continent per capita. The total case count is closing in now on 1,300. The province announced another 21 cases Thursday, pushing the total since the outbreak began in March to nearly 1,300. That's just under the total number of reported cases in the entire United States.
This is just an appalling situation. This is not something that I expected to see in my lifetime as an infection doctor, because measles has had eradication status in Canada for many years. And the scale of this outbreak is really massive. And, you know, Alberta, like many places, you know, is not a single population. There's many populations within a population. And I think that what we're seeing is very under-vaccinated populations are having very high rates of disease. and it's basically network spread. And so it's very hard to contain that.
Meanwhile, in Saskatchewan, there have been 60 measles cases since the middle of March. 7 of those cases have required hospitalization, and by comparison, there was only 1 case of measles in the province in all of last year. The Royal United Services Institute has unveiled 2 new military pedestals in Regina's Victoria Park. They honor the work of the Canadian Armed Forces in the Normandy campaign and the Battle of the Scheldt in Belgium and the Netherlands. There are now 34 pedestals encircling the cenotaph in Victoria Park. Each one honors a different story of service and sacrifice. Stay with us. We'll have more news and Helena's forecast after the break. Welcome back. A new program to connect low-income families with fresh food is now underway at the Regina Farmers Market. The program is the first of its kind in Saskatchewan, and as Alex Kozrowski explains, it is already seeing its first customers.
It's a hot summer day at Regina's Farmers Market, and Tanya Bunny has her eyes on some produce.
Berries are out, so I'm hoping to get some berries and maybe some fresh carrots or potatoes. I have 6 little ones, and yeah, they'll love this.
Now buying that food has gotten more affordable for people like Bunny. She's using these nutrition coupons. They're being offered weekly to low-income families and individuals through a partnership between the Farmers Market and the YWCA. The coupons mean that each week, individuals get $20 and families get $60 to purchase fresh food. Over the summer, that could mean over $800 of food for one family alone.
Our expectations is that our families and our community come and get some fresh produce, and if not, it comes back to our outreach area that we can give all to our houseless clientele.
The donation-funded program is designed like those in other provinces, and the organizers believe it could gain traction quickly.
Manitoba, their program had an influx of about $1 million from their Department of Agriculture, and they put that through their farmers markets there. So the sky's the limit, right? Like, we can take donations from the community of, $5, $10, $20 and make an impact with that immediately the very next week. Or if there's interest from sponsors as well, it's really easy for us to recycle that back into the program and make a difference immediately.
The YWCA says all unclaimed vouchers will go toward purchasing food for its community kitchen. The 14-week program runs until October 11th, and that will make a big difference for Tanya Bunny's family.
It was really an honor to get this. We don't really get a lot of fresh produce, and it was really fun to be a part of this.
Alex Kozrowski, CBC News, Regina.
Well, the Saskatchewan Roughriders are looking to keep their perfect record Friday night when they host the Calgary Stampeders. It'll be a battle of the top 2 teams in the CFL's West Division. The Riders are coming off a 37-18 victory over the BC Lions, and the Stamps with an emphatic 37-16 win over the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Calgary's defense was on fire, as it has been all season long. It's something Saskatchewan's top offensive players are well aware of.
I don't think anybody scored a touchdown in the first 3 quarters on this defense. They make things very difficult on you because the best defense is they don't do 65 different coverages. They play what they play and they get really, really good at it, and they make things difficult for you. And so to some degree you know what you're going to get, but we also know that they're going to give us looks that we haven't seen before. They're going to keep us guessing and show us a few things that they haven't shown yet this year. And this is pro football, and so we're going to do the same thing. But we're excited about the challenge. They bring a great challenge to us, but we think we bring a great challenge to them as well.
Yeah, they're really good. Bob Slowick does a great job. They got really good players. That's a big challenge for us, and we're looking forward to Friday night.
The Riders are hitting the field Friday for the first time this season in their obsidian green jerseys. Kickoff at Mosaic Stadium is 7 o'clock. And weather specialist Helena Mahalik joins us now. And I've been enjoying the heat this week, Helena, but it was kind of nice to get a bit of a break from that.
Yeah, I didn't mind getting outside, enjoying the heat, but it's finally a night where people aren't going to have to be blasting their AC or their fan. Things definitely cooled down. Let's take a look at some of our daytime highs in the province. We did have a cold front pass through Wednesday night, bringing many areas back to seasonal, and it's going to be pushing that hot and humid weather towards Manitoba. So we're still seeing temperatures in the southeast, areas around Estevan, still quite hot, but that's going to be cooling down back to seasonal in the next few days. Thursday night with that cold front, we also are seeing a chance of showers, about a 60% chance of showers in south and central Saskatchewan with a risk of severe thunderstorms. Some of the risks with that storm include wind gusts up to 70 kilometers an hour, hail the size of nickels, and periods of heavy rainfall. And specifically for west central Saskatchewan, conditions could be favorable for funnel clouds, or a few isolated tornadoes. And as we look ahead to Friday, we're actually seeing the risk of severe thunderstorms and tornadoes or funnel clouds, specifically for the southeast. So areas around Regina and Yorkton or Estevan may be affected by that. And as we look ahead into the weekend, we're going to continue to see some rainfall, especially for the north or down into the northern grain belt for areas around Prince Albert or Meadow Lake. And into Saturday, we're continuing to see scattered showers, but very light, especially for the north. As we get later into the morning, we're going to see that for west central Saskatchewan areas like Saskatoon and Lloydminster as well. And, you know, with that cold front passing through, it has unfortunately provided some worsening of our air quality situation. We've seen areas in the southwest and eastern parts of the province, and south and central Saskatchewan be affected by that air quality as the cold front has pushed wind direction towards the south. So air quality statements are in effect for much of the province, and air quality warnings where that smoke is at its worst continue for La Ronge and Pelican Narrows. Over the next coming days, we aren't going to see much relief. Smoke plumes are continuing to spread into the south. We're going to continue to probably see special air quality statements for the next 24 hours. And into Friday, we're continuing to see the direction of the smoke pushing, the direction of the wind pushing smoke towards the southeast. So areas in the south are going to continue to be affected in the next coming days. So Ethan, although it's great that we're seeing less heat, it's too bad that our air quality is being affected because of it.
Yeah, so maybe rain jacket for the Rider game, but also be aware of some smoke then as well too.
Don't forget those tornadoes too.
Whole bunch of weather. Okay, Helena, thank you.
Thanks, Ethan.
Well, a BC mayor was one of 2 Canadians surprised to find themselves mentioned on a recent episode of Jeopardy. Surrey Mayor Brenda Locke, along with Winnipeg Mayor Scott Gillingham, were referenced in the game show Tuesday night. They even happened to stump the contestants. Take a look.
I'll take that's honorific for 400.
A couple weeks ago, my office got an email that we thought at first was maybe a spam email. It was from the Jeopardy show. That was going to be a clue.
One of our staff got a phone call saying that I was going to be part of a Jeopardy question. And I was totally surprised. I guess I didn't know why they thought it was a great question, but obviously it was because the people couldn't even get it right. I didn't expect Americans would understand local government in Canada.
In one way, it was kind of fun to stump those, smart contestants.
What is MP?
No, I'm sorry.
What is minister?
No, that's not right either.
I never, in my wildest dreams, would have imagined that my name would appear on Jeopardy. Some people say, that's it. I've reached my high water mark in life.
I'm very grateful they chose Scott and I. Maybe Canada better look out. Winnipeg and Surrey are on the map.
Anytime, you get any Canadian city mentioned on a show, it's good for all of us. I'm not going to lie. It's a pretty cool thing.
Crowds of adoring fans showed up for Moo Dang's first birthday party organized by her zookeepers in Thailand. As the world-famous baby pygmy hippo can be seen here attacking a massive fruit platter. She and her mom shared her 20-kilo birthday feast made up of carved tropical fruits. The name Moo Dang in Thai, by the way, means bouncing pig. Several of her possessions were auctioned during the festivities as well, and all proceeds are expected to go toward a wildlife conservation fund. Happy birthday, Mudang. Stay with us. We have more news after the break. Well, some wealthy collector with an eye for the red planet could soon own a chunk of Mars. This 24.5 kilogram meteorite is going up for auction next week. Sotheby's says it's the largest piece of Mars on Earth. It was found in the Sahara Desert 2 years ago and is believed to have crashed to Earth recently. The Mars meteorite is expected to sell for as much as $4 million. And Helena, it's not meteorites falling to the earth here in Saskatchewan, but maybe a bit of rain.
Yeah, Ethan, we're seeing some rainfall beginning Thursday, and sadly for the riders, that might continue till tomorrow. Let's take a look at the forecast for the city of Regina. Friday, you might also want a blanket for that Riders game. Temperature is going to be dropping just below seasonal, but don't worry, into the weekend, temperatures jumping right back up, making for a beautiful weekend to get outdoors. However, next week, temperatures will be feeling very cool. We have a few days of some cloud cover or rain, and temperatures might even be just at or even below 20 degrees, and that's really going to be dropping our overnight lows as well. Overnight lows will be below 10 degrees. In Saskatoon, it'll be a nice Friday with temperatures at seasonal and even nicer conditions Saturday. Into Sunday, though, we're going to see some rainfall, and next week temperatures will definitely be cooling down. Again, a few days of temperatures at 20 degrees or even below the 20-degree mark with some rainfall as well. And overnight lows will be quite warm until we get to next week, where, Ethan, they're going to be dropping below the 10-degree mark. So into next week, you might be wishing for that heat wave to come back.
Yeah, we'll take advantage of the heat while we've got it. Helena, thank you.
Thanks, Ethan.
And before we leave you, a happy update to a story we brought you earlier this week.
We were actually, I was playing baseball when we got the call. The game just ended. We were in Porcupine, and it was just pretty surreal, to be honest.
Yeah,
it was
called,
like,
and
yeah, my mom
I was just
called,
shaking.
And it was just like, no way. That, like, she's like, we think we found Merv, and it was just crazy timing.
That is Merv the Golden Doodle. He went missing from the Fishing Lake area over the Canada Day long weekend when he got spooked by fireworks, but he was found Wednesday by a man who was driving in the area. His owners say he was found dirty and smelly without his collar, and aside from picking up a few ticks and having lost a few pounds, he is otherwise healthy. Good news all around there. That is it for us. For more news anytime, you can always head to cbc.ca/Sask or subscribe to the CBC Saskatchewan YouTube channel. And of course, you can also download the CBC News app on your smartphone or tablet. Thanks so much for watching.